Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 is just finished, and wow, that was one of the most amazing fights I've ever seen in my entire life. Deontay Wilder loses in the 11th round via KO. Tyson Fury puts him flatline out cold on his face in the 11th round, but that does not tell the tale of the fight whatsoever. It was an amazing scrap. It had literally everything you could ask for to end this trilogy once and for all. Both guys got knocked down. Tyson Fury knocks down Deontay Wilder in the third. It looks like it's going to be a one-sided obliteration again. Deontay Wilder comes back twice in the 4th round, I believe, and knocks down Tyson Fury twice. Deontay Wilder puts down Tyson Fury twice in a round, and somehow, some way, Tyson Fury finds it in himself to come back in the later rounds and put a beating on Deontay Wilder. But even in some of those rounds, Deontay Wilder out of nowhere would have a moment where he looked like he was having some success and had Fury up against the ropes. But Fury, majority of the time in those later rounds, was just too much for Deontay Wilder, had more in the tank completely, a much better cardio base than Deontay Wilder, massacred him in those rounds. I believe maybe in round 10 or 9, Fury does this slick knockdown again, so there's already been 3 in the fight at this point. Coming into the 9th or 10th round, Deontay Wilder swings an overhand, Fury weaves it like an absolute boss. Underneath it, Wilder misses. Over the top comes Fury with a big right hand counter. Down goes Deontay Wilder. Finishes the job in the 11th round by KO, but man, amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm an MMA fan, and that was an amazing boxing fight. I want to say, I know there's some big boxing fans out there that are going to mention, oh, you weren't there with Frazier, and I understand. I completely understand. There's going to be someone who knows more about heavyweight boxing than me. But at least in my life, that was the best heavyweight boxing match I've seen. Okay? Now, I know there are some before my time that may have beaten it, but that is definitely, I think I can say this with confidence, one of the best heavyweight fights of all time. 100%. In boxing, one of the best heavyweight fights. It was for a title. Both guys got knocked down. There was chaos back and forth. I thought in the first round, by the way, and let's talk about the entire fight here, round by round. I thought that Fury was going to win by TKO. I thought he'd do it in round 5 by body shot TKO, and when he knocked him down in round 3, I thought, there we go. It's going to come to fruition here. I'll get my prediction correct. Round 1, I shat my pants as an English fan of boxing. Wilder's ripping the shit out of Fury's body in round 1. Fury does land a couple of decent shots, don't get me wrong, but Wilder is landing a lot of good body shots on Fury in round 1. Clean body shots as well. Good jabs to the body. I think the numbers were a little bit off in the first round. They were showing like 4 shots to the body for Deontay Wilder, but in reality, I think he had landed about 7 or 8. Huge body shots from Deontay Wilder in that first round. A couple of them below the belt though, but either way, big body shots, and I was thinking, oh my god, this is a great game plan. Deontay Wilder going to the body, and I said he would. In my prediction video, I said, according to his pad work, we've seen a lot of body shots from Deontay Wilder. In all of his pad sessions, he showed himself going to the body. And that's what he did early in this fight, and it kind of threw off Fury a little bit. Wilder showed with a wide stance and a long jab to the body, he can kind of throw off Fury's timing a bit, and then in the second round, Fury did basically what Wilder did to him in the first. Won it very, very clearly. 1-1 going into the third, and then obviously Fury lands that big combination punch on Deontay Wilder. But I want to say this. I know people are going to come piling down on Wilder. There is a part of me that is very happy that excuse-making bitch got KO'd. I really hope he takes this loss very well, because I think there's a chance for him to go down as a bit more of a hero than he would have if he lost and made a bunch of excuses again. In the second fight, when he lost, a lot of people piled on top of Deontay Wilder. I think if he handles this one with like real dignity and just says, I was beaten by the better fighter tonight, I'm going to try and come back. If he is going to try and come back, who knows? I tried my best, I gave it my everything, and I went out. Now, if he does do that, I think he can gain a lot of popularity from this, and people won't hate him too much, because you've got to admit, Deontay Wilder has a granite chin. Granite chin. I know Fury is not the hardest hitting heavyweight. I completely understand. He's still a 270-pound man throwing vicious bombs at Deontay Wilder's face. And Wilder is, at times, out on his feet, eating uppercuts from Fury and big right hands, and he's somehow finding a way to get himself into the clinch. I thought Fury, I was so angry in certain moments, maybe I sound like a casual here, I thought Fury could have maybe, like, left the clinch a bit more in certain moments. Like, he would rock Wilder really badly, and I think more times than people really noticed in the fight. The only times that Wilder got knocked down were not the only times that Fury rocked Wilder. I think there were a couple of times where Fury would tag him with a big shot and Wilder would like stumble into the clinch with Fury. And Fury would kind of entertain the clinch for a bit. I think if he would have separated in those moments, it could have been an earlier finish. But man, you've got to give respects to Deontay Wilder. Tough. And in that fourth round, 2 knockdowns, he just didn't have the energy to keep going. And it's just the difference in the two of them. When Tyson Fury knocked down Deontay Wilder, short celebration, goes over to his corner, watches Deontay Wilder. Is he going to get back up? I'm still ready to go. I'm still bouncing around. When Deontay Wilder knocked down Tyson Fury, looking into the crowd, doing a bit of mean mugging, showing off. Yeah, tense up a little bit. Look around. Oh, he's back up. Oh, shit. It's like Fury controlled himself and was the much more professional fighter out there. And I think because of them both being semi-concussed going on into the 5th round, and them both being completely exhausted going into the 5th round as well, you could kind of see the actual reasons why Fury is as good as he is compared to Deontay Wilder. First of all, I'm not just saying this is an excuse for why he got knocked down because he got knocked down in the first fight. I think Fury was injured. I think he was off a little bit. He did not. I think he seemed a little bit heavy. The back flag that he had seemed to be hanging over the belt line a little bit too much for me to say that he was in peak condition Fury. Of course, he did have this training camp delayed, which is a bit of a red flag as well in terms of maybe an injury was there. But Tyson Fury did look a little bit off early, I thought. Maybe it was the body shots, though. Maybe I'm looking too far into it. Maybe the body shots of Wilder just really stuck with Fury in that first round and made him fight at a bit of a slower pace because he was also kind of exhausted. However, Tyson Fury rallies back. And it was an amazing performance. And when it's in slow-mo, and they're both slow, and they're both tired, you can really see the reason why Tyson Fury is a better boxer than Deontay Wilder. He showed in those later rounds, 5 onwards, the differences in the moments. They're both trading in the exchange. Deontay Wilder's arms are out like this, or they're down by his side. Fury's arms are up high. He's tucking his chin. He's doing a bit of a shoulder roll here and there in those very, very intense exchanges where anything can happen and anyone can land a KO blow. Deontay Wilder, his hands are down by his side. His hand is out over here as he swings his left. Like, he's just very technically unsound. And I know he can look good in those early rounds as long as he's winning. But as the rounds go on and you're tired, you have to have those fundamentals down. And he just didn't have them down. He didn't have them down enough to use them when he was fatigued. I think that was the main problem here. Tyson Fury just stalked him down, though, beat him up, landed big shots, got the job done, sang to the crowd afterwards. He's the best heavyweight on earth. I think Usyk can give these guys all kind of problems, though. I know people don't really like to hear that because I'll shut up about that no-name Usyk. Out of the recent heavyweight bouts I've watched, Usyk has looked the best out of any of the fighters. I know this was an amazing fight, a war back and forth. Both guys took big shots. Both guys got back up, and I'll talk about that more in a second. But I think Usyk has looked the best out of all of them. In terms of technical skill, if he can get more acclimatized to the weight of being a heavyweight, because Fury's a massive guy, let's not forget, I think he can give some problems. I don't think he might beat him, but I think there's some real problems there, and it's like a close, competitive, back-and-forth matchup. Maybe size is the difference, but that didn't seem to be the case against AJ. Either way, amazing bout. Tyson Fury is built different, straight up. It was just the cleanliness of Wilder's shots. Wilder landed his best shots. The straight right hand. The jab to the straight right hand. 1, 2, crashed right between the guard of Fury as he had his hands up, right on the forehead of Fury, and you can see the neck of Fury just sort of jolt backwards in itself, send a shiver down the spine, and he's wobbled all over the place. Wilder's coming for him, puts him down. Then they get back up. Fury somehow still out there dodging, landing good shots, trying to dodge in the clinch, landing good shots of his own. Wilder puts him down with like a check hook behind the ear. Fury goes face planted down to the canvas again. Somehow finds it in himself to raise back up and come back and get the KO that he did. I can't believe how good this fight was. Even in the 10th round, when Wilder looked spent, I think it was the 10th round, they're all a blur. I think it was the 10th round. Fury's dominating Wilder at the start of the round. Wilder in the last 15 seconds rocks Fury. Big shots against the ropes. Big shots on Fury against the ropes. It just had everything that a trilogy needed to have. I think Deontay Wilder has nothing to be ashamed of. He is a very, very tough man. You've got to give it to him. He's got a granite chin. I've just played audio there of a crowd accidentally. He's got a granite chin. Amazing power. He looked better than before. He looked way more technical. He looked like he had more of a game plan out there as well. And man, Deontay Wilder, just very, very tough, very, very good chin, because it's not about how good your chin is. Like, I get Fury's not going to one-punch KO him just without rocking him beforehand. But it's the fact that Wilder's out on his feet No one's home. Stumbling a bit on his feet. And then Fury's still landing bombs, and Wilder's like finding a way to like flailing armed inflatable tube man and his way back into the clinch. Like, it was a crazy situation. Amazing bout. One of the best heavyweight fights of all time, in my opinion. Fury is different gravy. I think that's what it comes down to. Fury's just different gravy. He's wilder, but he's bigger. He's tougher. He's got better cardio. And again, it comes down to this. We just saw this with AJ and Usyk. I think when the level of boxing is shown, and the level of boxing is enough, it doesn't matter how much fast twitch muscle you have in boxing anymore. I think that's being found out across the board recently. It's all about who can plod, who can trudge, who can go into those deep waters, who can get it done. Because when you reach the higher level of boxing, the one-punch KOs don't really happen too much anymore. You know what I mean? They don't happen in the first round anymore. They don't happen in the second round anymore. They happen in the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, where it really matters, when you're both tired and you both landed big shots and you're both taking big shots. And I think the boxing skill is overcoming it, and the slow twitch, ploddy movement of Fury's and Usyk's. I'm not saying Usyk is ploddy or Fury is ploddy, but when they have to trudge, when they have to start going, when they have to get the steam engine going in those later rounds, and chugga their way through those later rounds, I think that's where it matters. And Fury and Usyk have showed that recently. Great cardio, worn on their fighters during the fight. And yeah, Deontay Wilder took a big hit, man. A real big hit. I had a feeling he was going to KO Fury, so when he dropped him in that 4th round, I shat my pants. But I'm glad I picked Fury by TKO. Good win. I didn't curse a fight for once. I picked AJ against Usyk, thought he was too good. Got proven wrong there, big time. Picked Wilder in the first 2 of these. Proven wrong twice. And also, it's 3-0. Give it a rest, okay? Let's give it a rest. I understand it was a great fight, and people are going to make the argument that somewhere down the line we can make it again. It's 3-0. He's beaten Wilder the 3 designated times that he was required to beat him. The 3 mandatory defenses of his belt, or 1 acclamation that he didn't get, 1 actual obtaination of the belt, then he defends it afterwards. Boxing was great tonight. I didn't watch the rest of the card. No idea what happened. Sorry, casual fan. One thing I do say, though. When the MMA co-main event is over... Okay, and listen, I'm going to get dislikes here, but you've got to listen to this. When the co-main event has gone to a decision, like your co-main event did tonight, boxing fans, in MMA, it's the next fight time. It's not 40 minutes of shit. And, whatever his name is, I can't ever remember that fucking guy's name. Not Andre Ward, it's Porter. Sean Porter. I just spat. That was really bad of me. Sean Porter is in the crowd, or he's at the desk, and he's going to analyze the anatomy of this fork. Yeah, man, it's got 4 prongs and shiny, man. All right, back to you, Max Kellerman. Like, it's like there's too much in between. Big E from WWE was like doing a promo in between the walkouts. It was very strange. The walkouts. Wilder comes out very light clothing, of course, much wiser of him this time, but still looked as gassed. So I think it's just a cardio issue. I don't think he can fight at that pace. I think other heavyweights are scared to go with a pace like that against Deontay Wilder, and because Fury makes him fight at a certain pace, Wilder was using up all of his energy and not getting what he wanted from it, and not rocking Fury enough. Either way, Fury comes out. Romans. But, it was so bad, though, because it's such a weird... And I know I'm OCD about this and probably a bit autistic about this as well, but it just frustrated me so much, that he had... I'm such a bitch for complaining about this. I'm so sorry, but this is just the way I love history, and this is the way my brain works. He had a Roman suit on and Spartans behind him, and I didn't like that. I didn't like the continuity of the historical moments there. You know, the historical accuracy lacked a bit of continuity, in my opinion, and I didn't think it was too jolly. But it was a good walkout, though. Of course, the atmosphere is massive. Fury sings to the crowd afterwards. Hopefully, in the meantime, while we wait for Usyk versus Joshua, we can get, and here's what we're hoping for here. I don't want Fury to wait out and wait for the winner of Joshua versus Usyk. I don't want him out for another year, getting caught up in other stuff and getting meddled up. I want him to stay active as he can, come back early next year. Not too early, maybe April, March, something like that. March, Joshua versus Usyk 2. April, I know people are going to say, don't delay it any further. If Dillian Whyte beats Otto Wallin, he's the interim WBC World Champion. I think he's going to be a mandatory if he does that. Dillian White, Tyson Fury, April, Joshua Usyk 2, March, winners take on each other, August, September, October, November, December, any time at the end of that year, the belts will be unified. I'm very glad we didn't get caught up in a quadrilogy here because that would have taken a fucking long time, and Dillian White would have not got a title shot again. That is criminal. But either way, amazing fight. Amazing body shots from Wilder. Amazing body shots from Fury. Fury was winning with the jabs all day. He started the rounds better than Wilder. That's all it was. He gained momentum in those later rounds within the first minute. Within the first minute of all of those rounds, he's landed 2 right hands. He's landed a double jab. He's landed a solid jab to Wilder's body. And it took away, like, the... where Wilder would hype himself up in his corner and his cornermen would hype him up to go out there and change things around. Fury would immediately remind him, I'm better than you, dude. Beep, I'm better than you, dude. Pip, 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 I'm better than you, dude. Dosa, 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 I'm better than you, dude. It's just every single start of the minute of every round, stuck it in his face, reminded him that he can't win. Like and subscribe, thank you for watching. Brutal KO at the end. Click that button up there, Two-Door Pip, I'll see you later. Fuck, Wilder versus Ruiz in February? I don't fucking mind. Maybe March, maybe May. Let's make it May. Fuck's sake, you got KO'd. See you later.